Good day, families. The MFW podcast has the opportunity to receive some feedback from our listeners. If you could do me a favor and take 10 seconds to fill out the online survey, this information will help the MFW podcast stay most relevant to your interests, your context, and provide the most value to you and your family. Click the link in the show notes, or you can navigate your web browser to survey.libsyn, spelled libsyn.com/Michigan Family Wellness. Michigan Family Wellness, episode 38.
Here at Michigan Family Wellness, we believe chiropractic care and nutritional-based therapies are a foundational part of a healthy family lifestyle. No matter where you're at in the mitten, having a family is such an exciting time of life. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress, fatigue, and responsibilities with the kids, we invite you to become part of this empowering community to create happy, healthy families. By providing engaging interviews and practical applications, Dr. Wallner cultivates family health by equipping our listeners with the tools they need to elevate wellness in their own family. Dr. Wallner passionately serves the Michigan community at his chiropractic and nutrition-based practice, where he specializes in pregnancy, pediatrics, and family wellness care. And now, here's your host, Dr. Kyle Wallner.
Good day, families, and welcome to another empowering episode of the Michigan Family Wellness Podcast. My name is Dr. Kyle, and I am the Family Wellness Chiropractor at the Michigan Family Wellness Clinic, and your host on today's podcast. I'm excited because today we have an outstanding interview with Tim Brolus. But before we get to today's episode, let me just say a few words, as I do each and every week, about Power Performance Gym. Power Performance Gym is dedicated to helping you achieve your best definition of healthy and strong. Power Performance specializes in strength and conditioning for individuals, small groups, and athletic teams, weight and pain management, as well as recovery and nutrition. Every person at Power Performance will be given a full movement and health analysis. This helps build your blueprint for success and ensures that you receive a customized program targeting your goals. Learn more about how Power Performance can help you move, look, and feel better by visiting PowerGym, that's POWRGYM.com. Mention the Michigan Family Wellness Podcast to receive your movement and health analysis as a complimentary gift. And families, this is a perfect time to remind you that the Michigan Family Wellness Clinic is all about equipping you and your family. We're family-centered here, and when you're the single parent or the stressed-out spouse just struggling to get through each day and take care of the kids and make sure the refrigerator has food and ensure the house is picked up, all while advancing your career, and on and on and on, we're here for you. What I help most of my patients with is resiliency, and the way I define resiliency is giving you the strength to adapt to the stress in your life. Sometimes we do have stressors that need to go, whether they be something environmental, like a chemical we're being exposed to, or a bad relationship, or just the nutrient-deficient food that we eat. Other times, the stress isn't necessarily going away, but the way our body is adapting to that stress is not sustainable. I help my patients, many of them mothers, fathers, children, young, old, sick, big and small, increase their resiliency and equip them with that strength to adapt to the changes and stress in their life. The saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, is absolutely true. And that's why I have committed this podcast and the MFW Clinic to passionately serve this community through integrity, certainty, and authenticity. You deserve the best doctor-patient experience and the best results in the shortest amount of time. Let me be completely vulnerable here, families. I want you to know that while I don't have the perfect family or the perfect marriage, and I'm not the healthiest guy in the world, I like to enjoy pizza and waffles every now and then, and I struggle with work-life balance, and yes, sometimes my wife and I argue. I'm a normal man, a normal husband, doctor, and provider. The thing that separates and qualifies me to do this work is that I'm on a lifelong journey to elevate the wellness of my own family. I speak on family wellness for two reasons. One, like I just mentioned, my own family isn't perfect, and two, I'm passionate about bringing you the tactical strategies and practical applications, and I'm willing to tell it like it is. even if it means that I'm not the best. You know, it's critical we have these conversations because families in this community and communities all over the nation are experiencing the struggles of balancing work, marriages, the kids' school and sports schedules, furthering their own career advancement, demanding responsibilities, unplanned circumstances, and the list goes on and on. This podcast provides a platform for those conversations and is a great way to let the women, mothers, and families listening know that you're not alone, and hope abounds when we can empower, encourage, and support one another. So, if there was a way to elevate your health, your family wellness lifestyle, and resiliency, would you be interested? If so, head on over to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and you can send me an email or head on over to the MFW Facebook page and send me a Facebook message. All right, families, let's introduce Tim. Praised for his ability to connect with, educate, and inspire others, Tim has mentored people across North America to reach their full potential with his practical and profitable breakthrough coaching programs. His humorous yet focused interactive style engages the people he works with by showing them effective, simple solutions to help them reach their goals. Tim is the local nutritional medicine consultant and practice development specialist with Designs for Health. All right, families, let's jump into today's interview. Welcome, families, to the interview portion of today's podcast. My guest on the show today is Tim Brolus. Welcome to the podcast, Tim. It's so great to have you.
Thanks for having me. I know you're helping a lot of people, so I want to do whatever I can to help you as well.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, it's been a pleasure getting acquainted with you over the past few months. I always enjoy meeting new people with different areas of expertise and speciality. But Tim, I am very excited to jump into today's discussion on the Optimal Wellness Program and specifically how we can help mothers, women, and families elevate their health and wellness. That being said, we do have two questions that we always ask our guests here on the podcast. So, Tim, I've just told our families a little bit about you as the professional, but one of the core values here on the podcast is family. So tell us more about you as the person, and what does family look like for you?
Well, I've been in the field for about 45 years. I've had a couple of wellness centers, written a couple of books, but more importantly, I've got a fun family where in fact, I just got back from California where we just took some time just to visit them for a few days out there. I mean, family's important. I had lost my dad when I was 15 years of age to a sudden heart attack, actually finding out years later because of lifestyle-related disease. So family became very, very important to me about 40 years ago because I wanted to preserve my life and the life of my family. And that was actually the thing that jump-started my decision to really dive into health and integrative health so that we can all live a very healthy, productive life. And I enjoy having grandkids. I enjoy having a beautiful wife. I enjoy having my other children. And it's fun just to do things together, whether we're active or having family dinners where we share recipes to see how can we be gluten-free or how can we increase vegetables without it tasting nasty, or just how can we just enjoy food without it destroying our bodies. And at the same time, how can we just spend more time together just getting to know each other as we get older and go through life and all of its challenges. And so it's fun. Family is very, very important to me because I guess I would say home is where the family is.
I'm loving everything you're saying there, Tim. You know, we talk a lot about the nuts and bolts and we talk practical applications and tactical strategies here on the podcast, but really exactly what you're saying, which is what we're going to get to later, is, you know, this really is all about helping people, you know, recover from lifestyle diseases and chronic illnesses. So I just appreciate everything you're saying there. And, you know, Tim, another thing I love to say here on the MFW podcast is that we are smitten with the mitten. So I always ask my guests to share what they love about Michigan.
Well, it's interesting you have that question because coming back from California and visiting some family out there, they had shared what we enjoy and what they miss. And what she said she missed was she misses the season. She misses the fall colors. She misses going up north. I'm in the greater Detroit area, but misses that 3 to 4 hour drive of all the colors changing. And even though it might be nice to have sunshine most of the time throughout the year, they do enjoy having a change of season from time to time. I actually enjoy all the different things Michigan has to offer. I know a lot of people like to travel throughout the country, throughout the world, but it's really interesting how many things are available in Michigan, from our arts, you know, to our nice nature preserves, to even just wineries, great restaurants. So I guess I really enjoy Michigan as a whole because there is so much to do here. If you just take the time to think about it, look throughout the state and decide, what it is that you like to do. Do you want to be by the water? Do you want to be by the snow? Like I said, do you want to just watch the beautiful fall colors? Do you just want to hang out at a park or a beach? It's really nice that Michigan has so many things available to family to do. So, and there's so many parks within a 20-minute to 45-minute range of my home. I mean, I could probably go to about 10 or 12 different parks on the water, no water, wildlife there. So it's good to be smitten by the mitten because there's so much fun stuff to do here.
I could not agree more. And I'm just even thinking about, having lived most of my life just in the lower, part of the state here. There's so much that I haven't even explored, in the Upper Peninsula. And gosh, you mentioned California. And I know I've talked about this on the podcast before as well, but we were out in Santa Barbara last year, and they jokingly say that it's a unbearable 72 degrees and sunny, all year round. So I appreciate, like you were saying, the diversity of the seasons, that kind of change from the, day to day that we get year round here. So Tim, let's go ahead and get more in depth because I really want the women, mothers, and families listening to get and receive value from your experiences, your expertise, and your unique perspective. So, the thing is, Tim, this is a family wellness podcast. So before we dive in and talk about the optimal wellness program, from Designs for Health, let's start first with more context because we've had on the podcast before several experts from the nutritional medicine industry. So enlighten us. Why did you decide to work with this company, Designs for Health? Why have you stayed for so many years, and what makes this company different?
Well, I have to say, I've asked that question a few times the last couple of years. I decided to go with Designs for Health because of how I was impressed with the founder, Jonathan Lazat, several years ago, and I still today work with doctors building their practice, help patients get better faster. And they had heard about what I did and had heard a couple of my seminars and read one of my books and had me on one of their programs to help some doctors. And there were a lot of doctors that liked what we had to say, and they invited me back. But after that second interview, what was interesting is I had the opportunity to spend a couple of days with the founder and just talk about what was important to him. And what was interesting is when we talked about growth of an industry and when we talked about the growth of his company, now this was the CEO, remember, the number one thing I said, you guys are really growing leaps and bounds without spending a lot of money on advertising. And he cut me right off. He said, Tim, that doesn't matter as much as the fact of this. Tim, we are changing lives. Mm-hmm. We are making people better. All the profits in the world don't matter, Tim, if we're not achieving our core mission, and that's to change lives and to use science to provide some solutions that help people in a hectic world find a way to either prevent getting sick or get better with natural remedies. So, Tim, I really am motivated to help people save lives. And what connected with me was that was the point in my life that I decided that my core mission for the next 10 or 15 years is I wanted to help 1 million people get better. As I said earlier, my dad had died. His first symptom of heart disease was sudden death. My dad had died of cancer. My dad died of heart attack. My mom died of cancer. And my grandmother died of a heart disease. And so I was motivated at an early age to make changes in my lifestyle. I had allergies. I had gluten insensitivities, a lot of issues. And so what I decided I wanted to do after me being well for 30 plus years is I wanted to help other people. And when he said his core mission was to change lives, it really connected with the fact that that's what I wanted to do, to change lives, help 1 million people get well. And I knew I could not do that by myself. I was going to need at least 1,000 doctors or professionals to do that. So I joined the mindset and the mission of Designs for Health because of the founder's integrity, because of his focus and his mission, because we wanted to get on board with something that was going to make a huge, significant, lasting difference in people's lives. And not just trying to sell some product or have people buy some product, is to have a solution that worked for people where they were at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I loved everything you just said there. And I think, a company can do that just like a doctor or a practice can accomplish those results, with integrity, with certainty, and with authenticity. And like you said, lasting results. And so that's one of the things that just attracted me to, working with the Designs for Health company as well. You talked about the Lazat family. I mean, really, it's a family business, so that's why I was attracted to it, having a family wellness practice, having a family wellness podcast. I really prioritize that family component when making those decisions. So,
let me interrupt if I could, though. I want to really dovetail into that, which is huge, what you just said. As a family-owned business, they still are. And his entire family works in the business. And what's important to realize is this is about legacy for the Lazats. This is about legacy in the family. It's not just about being bought by a major conglomerate and reaching some target financial goals. It's about making sure that at the very basal level that people know that they are cared about, and everything that Designs for Health does is designed for better health for the entire family.
And that's another great point too. For me, it's that patient-centered commitment, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But it doesn't matter, what it can be Designs for Health. The name on the bottle is not the important part for me. It's that lasting result, that lasting lifestyle change, that elevation of their health and wellness. That's the main thing. And so that's why I think you look for people like the Lazats, to really accomplish those goals and the results. So let's go ahead and go there, Tim, because I'd really like to address, the why behind you and I are talking to each other today, because the women, mothers, and families listening need to understand that this is way more about, just telling them to do another weight loss program or detox kit. So I want to outline 3 main points here. Patient-centered, scientifically based, and designed for practicality. So let me kind of unpack those here, and I'll have you jump in and, insert your commentary as well. First of all, patient-centered. Like I've said, this is about helping people achieve their goals, whether it's weight loss, recovery from chronic fatigue. You mentioned those diseases of lifestyle, unrelenting brain fog, increasing their capacity to exercise, or even just spending more time with their families, which is what this is all about. Again, I keep going back to that long-term commitment to health through these lifestyle programs. Would you agree?
I would totally agree, because they looked at the hectic pace of everybody's lifestyle. And the first thing that was really important to them as well is they have to be easy to follow. They have to be affordable, but they also have to work.
Absolutely. And which brings us to our second point, that's scientifically based. Not only is this entire company, is this entire framework based upon science, but also these kits are designed around, that research-driven nutritional medicine, those synergistic formulas, and thirdly, those meaningful quantities of therapeutic ingredients. Okay, so the point I want to drive home here is, gosh, Tim, as you know, being in the industry, there's tons of bad stuff that's out there. You can go to the Walmarts, you can go to the GNCs. I really want to advocate for people, don't play mad scientist with your body by doing these detoxes and cleanses and these weight loss gimmicks on your own. We talk about having the right adjustment at the right time, at the right level, at the right sequence. You can actually make yourself worse by doing a detox or a cleanse or something on your own when your body's not ready for it. So that's why working with a qualified, licensed healthcare provider, like myself, can get you the most effective results in the shortest amount of time. And again, like you were saying, Tim, in the most cost-effective way. Your thoughts on that?
Well, you've just said that they have to be science-based solutions, and they have to be top quality ingredients. I think the Designs for Health probably rejects more ingredients than they accept, which would make your families feel really, really good. I mean, imagine if, we were a produce market that gave you our 2-week-old produce that was all moldy and old and just dying, but you got it for a reduced price. Would you want to buy that? See,
Yeah.
Everything with Designs for Health does is high quality. They're made of non-GMO ingredients. They're free of dairy. They're free of gluten. They're free of lactose. They're free of fructose. There's no artificial sweeteners. And everything that we can do, whenever we can do it, uses stevia. There are guidebooks that are included in every food recommendation to make it simple and easy. So when these nutritional dense formulas are given, people know how to just integrate them into their lives. And they make a big deal about making sure that they source the proper ingredients, especially when they made the decision to go with a organic pea protein. It took a while to
Absolutely.
source a farm that could do that and give it on a consistent basis. So all the things that they do are not just by chance. There's a lot of science and a lot of time that goes into making sure that these ingredients match up to the highest standard on a continual basis, so the mothers and the families can rest assured that they're not giving their family cheap ingredients that are outdated, or ingredients that would harm their family in any way. Which, let me segue right into like the detox. Like you've said, if you just blow into a regular detox and you don't have a healthcare practitioner guiding you through that process that knows where you're at, you could really hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the detox program has been scientifically designed to make sure that you do not get sick when you are taking this step to try to make yourself better. I mean, it makes no sense to make yourself worse while you're trying to make yourself better. So working in sync with the healthcare professional like yourself is key, because there's too many people self-diagnosis with Wikipedia, WebMD, and what does the computer know about your history, your current lab work, your current health status? That's just like a shot in the dark. So the primary and biggest focus for any family would be to find a qualified healthcare practitioner that can treat everybody actually in the family different based on their unique needs.
Absolutely. And I think that really speaks to the bio-individuality, this concept that we really need to address, because everyone is so different. So like you were saying, you can really make yourself worse. You can yield poor results. You can get really discouraged and unsatisfied, by doing these things that, honestly don't work. And you can spend a lot of money on things that, you just don't need to be spending money on. I just want to circle back briefly for a moment and talk about, from my perspective, when a company or when a business says, okay, this is the raw material that's coming in, but it doesn't meet our standards, and we're going to actually reject this because we care so much and we value so much, the quality of what we put out, to our practitioners, to our patients, that it has to be at this level or we're not going to use it. I mean, to me, that speaks volumes. To me, that speaks, it's not about the money or it's not about the business. It's about, the commitment to quality. So I just really appreciate
that comes back to the core foundational integrity of the company. Sure, every company has to make a profit, but they will never make a decision based on profit. They'll always make the decision based on the health and the outcome of the end user.
Outstanding. So we've talked about patient-centeredness, we've talked about scientifically based, and thirdly, I just want to touch briefly on how these are designed for practicality. This optimal wellness program that we're going to talk about, Tim, this is really designed for people that have, those hectic lifestyles. This is designed to, reduce your stress levels to the maximum by being a, easier to quickly grab a prepared packet rather than trying to do all the work yourself and measure out, okay, here's, 2 pills of my multivitamin, and here's my fish oil, and here's my vitamin D. And so I really think, being designed for practicality, is just a great way to approach this optimal wellness program. Would you agree?
Yes, the green tea program took a while to put together because we listened to what people wanted. And like you just said, it was somebody that either wanted to go into a detox but wasn't healthy enough yet to do so, or had just come off of a detox and wanted to maintain those results, or had gone through a weight loss program and achieved their goal, and now wants just a day-to-day functional program that makes it simple and convenient to take, with just a packet for protein and their nutrients, as well as a pack for their nutrients of the core things they need to be well, whether that's going to be like your your fish oils, your calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D. So that's what it was designed for, is to help people achieve the wellness in a simple but cost-effective and effective way.
Awesome. Yeah. So let me further unpack that for our listeners and just kind of set up a framework for you here, Tim. I have patients who come to me from the entire health spectrum, meaning some of them are in incredible health. They're in incredible shape. They're diligent about detoxifying their body. They are disciplined with organic eating and non-GMO food, and they maintain an active lifestyle both mentally and physically. That being said, there are also people on the other end of that spectrum who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they are ready and willing to make big commitments to powerfully impact their life, their work, and essentially add years of time with their family to their life. So, Tim, our greatest asset is our health. What is the Green Teen Optimal Wellness Program, and how does it benefit the families listening today?
I call it wellness in a box. If you can just picture that, it's basically a box that has it's a kit. You're going to have 30 capsule kits and 30 single serving organic pea protein. And the pea protein also has the greens, the reds. And the way it's put together is because we don't really always eat enough fruits and vegetables and don't get adequate nutrients, and we need a good source of protein. So it's put together so that you can transition from some specific nutrition program to just a wellness program. I mean, it's a solid foundation for any patient who basically wants to have support for sustained energy. They want to have better mental clarity, as you said earlier, overall well-being. So this whole Green Teen Complete was put together so it solves the dilemma of what's for breakfast or what's for lunch or what's for dinner because you're in a hurry.
Right.
I talked to a couple people yesterday. They coach swimming, and the season's just starting right now. So here they'll come back from a full day, and they got to leave by 4:30 or 5 for a swim meet, maybe at 5:30, 6 o'clock. No time to slam down a dinner, no time to eat in a hurry. And in the past, it might have been grab something quick on the go. Well, here's a way to grab something quick on the go that's healthy. They can make some great smoothies for the entire family or for themselves. They can take that with the nutrients that they need for the rest of the day, go off to do their family event, and then know that they've fed their body very well. They might have had a great breakfast, they might have had a great lunch. Now they've got a good starter for the dinner, and now they're not coming home at 8, 9 o'clock starving and just downing a bunch of high-fat, high-sodium, high-sugar foods just because their blood sugars are high. So it might make sense for them now to have a snack an hour or two before they go to bed, but they're not going to get ravenous. Or if it's breakfast, most people just try to get through the day with coffee and donuts and get that blood sugar going just to get that brain going, just to get the energy going. Well, here's, again, a solution for the kids or for the single person or for the family person. Before you leave your household, just take some very simple ingredients, whether they're almond milk, coconut milk, whatever they are, and blend that with the protein pack, because you're going to get a full serving of the protein. You're going to get the reds, the greens that you need, the fruits and vegetables, and you can have that with, say, like peanut butter or another nut butter or another fruit, and it's a high quality smoothie that'll last you until your next meal. Which means if you have a good breakfast, that's fine. Maybe your dilemma's lunch. So what you can do basically is you could blend it in your blender before you go, put it in the blender bottle that's included, and put some ice in there, and know that by lunchtime or throughout the day, you're going to be able to sip a high-value nutritional drink. So no matter what your lifestyle gives you, whether you travel, whether you're home, taking care of the kids, it's a very easy, quick fix for getting some nutrient-dense stuff into your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you're saying there, Tim, especially about the part where, this is not just for adults, this is for kids as well. Like you were saying, the Family Wellness Podcast, the Optimal Wellness Program, this is for the entire family. So I want to circle back to what you were saying earlier too. Is this a standalone wellness program, or should people be doing a detoxification first? Or, give us that 30,000 foot context. Where does this fit in the context of detoxification and weight loss and all of that?
Well, let me kind of make it practical.
Sure.
Should you buy a ranch house? Should you buy a condominium? Should you rent an apartment, or should you have a colonial? It all depends on what your goals are, your financial status, and what you're trying to accomplish with your family. So should you do a detox first? I don't know. That comes right back to what you said earlier.
Right.
You need to be with a qualified health professional that can evaluate where you're at now, because maybe you do not need that detox, or maybe you're not healthy enough to do the detox. So this needs to be the first step. We always get ourselves in trouble when we try to self-diagnose, all right? And so you take a look at the fact that if you broke your arm or you broke your leg, you wouldn't say, give me a couple of aspirin, I'm going to set this puppy, I'll wrap it in some tape and put a yardstick around it to set my bone so I get healthy. I know that sounds silly, but that's the equivalent of what some people do when they just decide to just go on a detox program without talking to a qualified health professional first. We don't know if it's the right way to go or if you're ready to do that. So I don't know if you need the detox first. That's why this was put together. Maybe you need to be on this for about 2 to 4 weeks to get the body cleaned up a little bit before you put too many things into the bloodstream.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it too. And I just wanted to share with our listeners, like you said, it's what are your goals? What's the purpose? Why are you doing, the things that you want to do here? And so I just want to get vulnerable with our listeners. My wife and I, earlier this year, we wanted to do just a cleanse and a detox. And so I recommended that we do the 14-day paleo cleanse program. And, for me, it wasn't about the weight loss. It was just about, keeping my body tuned up and in good position. And, that's another great point, Tim. Anytime you can do a program with a trusted friend, a partner, or a spouse, someone who you can lean on, and just know that you're not going through this alone, I highly advocate for doing that. And again, like you said, just to make sure that you guys are both at the same level of health so that it's most relevant and most appropriate for you guys. That being said, there was a day or two, when I was doing this cleanse of, feeling sluggish both mentally and physically, but that all subsided once my liver and kidneys had really kicked in and removed all of that metabolic and chemical filth, which just naturally accumulates from the toxic world that we live in today. Not only that, but I actually lost weight on the program. And the interesting thing was I wasn't doing the program with that intention. The weight loss was just a natural consequence of staying consistent and congruent with the program. I love the Jim Rohn quote: "Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals." So would you agree with any of that there?
I agree totally. A couple things to bring up there. First of all, what's interesting that people may not know in your listener base is sometimes the body is not healthy enough to lose weight. And it makes a decision to try to preserve these calories and this fat, and maybe the lockdown of toxins as well. So sometimes you need to unlock the body's ability to lose the weight by giving it a functional, a base program that's healthy, nutritious, so you can get these things out of the body. And all the Design for Health products are designed to make sure we eliminate the toxins without putting them in a way that makes you sick or feel unhealthy. And on top of that, though, what's interesting, a lot of the healthcare practitioners I work with, they actually have support groups or classes. So they might, like for 4 weeks in a row, they might decide, okay, we're going to get together on Monday or Wednesday nights or Saturday morning for an hour. Everybody's going to share recipes, experiences, what they're doing to make themselves healthier. And so some people might be on the detox during that phase, and some people might be on the weight loss program during that phase.
Right.
They might be on the green team. So all of a sudden, you've got the law of group dynamics working for you. You've got people getting together, showing how they made this work into their life. So it is important to do it with a buddy or a friend, or just you might even have some classes yourself, or for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in a row, you get together for an hour, share stories and success, so people can really get motivated and encouraged by other people doing the same thing they're doing. Because sometimes if you think you're the only one doing it, you feel isolated. And what's interesting is this time of year is a perfect time to do it because it's before the holidays. And what you're actually doing, it's almost like getting your house ready to sell. It's clean, it looks great, and then all the people walk through, they might make it dirty, they might trample it. Now you got to clean it again before you close to sell that house. Well, before the holidays, you can clean up your body, get it ready. And then so when you have your holiday foods and you have maybe too much to eat or too much sodium or too much of anything, it's not quite as problematic because you prepared your body for the holiday. And then enjoy yourself. And then right after holiday, get right back on the horse and do something to make yourself well again.
Absolutely, Tim. Like you just said, this is a timely discussion because, the holidays are right around the corner. We've got New Year's coming up. We've got all those New Year's resolutions. And I really want to communicate to people, when it comes to, these goals that we have for our health, when it comes to even, we've been talking about weight loss here, it's really a lifestyle that we want to cultivate and nurture. This is more than just a one and done thing. And, again, it's not just about the weight loss. This is about time with family. This is about, participation in the events and the gatherings and the picking up of the babies and grandchildren. This is adding years onto our life. This is being more productive at work. And we're doing all of this naturally without pharmaceutical drugs or surgery. Really quick, I just want to let people know we're going to have a content upgrade for this episode. So if you would like to receive these 6 keys to healthy weight loss, what you can do is head on over to michiganfamilywellness.com/podcast. And on the show notes page for Tim's episode here, you can enter your email address and we will send you the 6 keys to healthy weight loss directly into your inbox. And really what it's all about is, moving well, which is, your exercise and your chiropractic care. It's about eating well, which is your nutrition, your hydration, and your nutritional medicine. And it's about thinking well, your thoughts, your epigenetics, and your mindset, having those positive attitudes. Anything to add there real quick, Tim?
Yeah, keep in mind that when you want to get healthy and stay healthy and be well, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about being isolated. I remember years ago, I'm a national bodybuilding champion, and years ago, it was a joke. But when you think about it, it really isn't. They'd say, don't invite Tim over. He won't eat anything. And you never want to be in a position where people start to say, well, just stop inviting these people over to our home because they eat weird. They eat different than us. So you don't want to be isolated. You want to have it part of your whole lifestyle where it's give and take. It's plus and minus. And there might be some days where it's just a day that there's not as much nutrition as you want. And that's what these programs are put together for, to get it back into line there. It's almost like if you look at your work schedule, sometimes you don't have a perfect day, but then other days you do. It's about the grand scheme of things. A year later, what have you done plus and what have you done minus? So don't try to be perfect and don't try to do all or nothing. Heck, I tried all or nothing years and years ago. I lost 55 pounds in about 2 months. The problem was I did it the wrong way. I just kind of stopped eating and I over-exercised. And so my body paid the price of allergies, joint discomfort for years. And we fixed that, of course, now with what we do today. But again, it's not about what can you give up. It's about what you can take up. And these kits, whether it's for weight loss or whether it's for detox or for wellness, I call it weight loss in a box, wellness in a box, detox in a box. Everything is designed to make it convenient for you to get where you want to be based on what you want to feel like for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. So, Tim, the purpose of the Michigan Family Wellness Podcast is to be an audio library resource for women, mothers, and families who want to learn more about elevating their family wellness and increasing their resiliency, or that strength to adapt to the stress and challenges in their life. One of the ways we accomplish this is by asking our guest for practical applications. So I know we've talked about a lot already, but Tim, other than jumping in right away and placing online orders, for these wellness programs for the entire family, what can the women, the moms, and the families listening today start doing right now as a result of hearing your unique voice to elevate their health and family wellness?
Well, I think one of the things that I tell all the patients that I've talked with over the last 20 or so years is go to the practitioner like yourself. You've got a lot of resources, I'm sure, online that they can start to just become a student of health and wealth. And I think what's interesting is more people put more time into Christmas shopping and their vacation than they might their health. How many hours do you spend in a given year, maybe looking for the ideal vacation? Or how many hours do you plan and spend with apps and research and online to find the perfect gift and to save the money and to get it there on time? I would say be just as diligent with your health and wellness, going to the resources that are available to you through people you trust, like you, Kyle.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of resources out there. And encourage them to review your library, to see what you've got available, because you've taken time to vet out people that are quacks and keep people online there that are going to help your patients. And it is a matter of maybe spending a half hour maybe or an hour every week or two online in things that you might make available. You talk about those 6 things for weight loss, just an awareness. Don't ever research something with the intent that you're going to have to buy something. Research it with the intent that you might learn something, so maybe you don't have to buy something. And I would just encourage them to use your resources. And then as these patients have needs, we want to be a support for you through Designs for Health and give you the resources you can give them. So we want them to keep coming back to you as a trusted advisor.
Outstanding. I couldn't agree more. Now, families, if you are resonating with our message today on the Optimal Wellness Program and you would like to take advantage of the benefits and value that we've discussed here today, you can actually head on over to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and you can find clickable links to the online store that is exclusive to the MFW clinic. From there, you can search for the Green Teen Optimal Wellness Kit, and by entering the promo code FIRST20, you can receive 20% off your first order. Not only that, but you'll also receive free shipping because people like Tim and myself are committed to equipping you with the tools you need to achieve your goals. Tim, are there any other resources that you can equip our listeners with today, whether it's a book, a website, something you've heard or read, anything like that?
Well, I have to be honest with you. It's a business book, but it's called The One Thing. And what it comes down to is if you got that book, it's from the founder of Keller Williams. He's a real estate guy. But what he really made sense of in the book was whether it was his health or his finances or his family, it comes down to not trying to do everything, but what's the one thing that you can do, and do it now and do it well, that'll have the most significant impact on what you're trying to achieve. Because you're going to find that you'll save money being well. You're going to find that you'll have more fun being well. And maybe it comes down to not working out an hour every day, but maybe it's a different change in how you work out. Or maybe there's one thing you need to do different when you go to the grocery store. So I've had a lot of people get a lot of value out of that book. But it comes down to the one thing that you can do that'll make the biggest difference in your family, in your relationships, and your health.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Tim. And if you're listening to this podcast and this message is resonating with you, I want to highly encourage you to head on over to MichiganFamilyWellness.com, where we'll have a dedicated webpage with all of the show notes that we've mentioned here today. Also, if you're listening on your mobile device, you can expand those show notes right now, and you can take advantage of those clickable links. Tim, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And remember, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart. Coming to you from beautiful Southeast Michigan, I'm your host, Dr. Kyle, and this is Michigan Family Wellness.
Now that you've been equipped with the latest in family wellness solutions, we want to encourage you to apply these strategies right away. But the thing is, there's still so much to learn. Connect with Dr. Wallner's Chiropractic and Nutrition Office by going to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and click the newsletter sign-up button to join the informative and supportive community of chiropractic wellness. You will also receive as a gift from Dr. Wallner a copy of Michigan Family Wellness Solutions, an invaluable resource containing dynamic tools to elevate family health and vitality. Michigan Family Wellness wants to thank you for being part of today's podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review.